My name is Mike Jimenez, and this is the Alamo City Sportscast coming at you from San Antonio, Texas. It is a Wednesday. The weather's nice outside, but for Spurs fans, it was a stormy night last night as the Spurs look absolutely awful. We are live right now on Twitter. We're live on Facebook, obviously on YouTube. If you want to be part of the show, you can leave a comment or two. Be happy to read them throughout the show. Joe Garcia typically produces today's show, but he has a new job and he's in training right now. So it's just going to be me flying solo for the next hour or so, hour 15, hour and a half, whatever it goes into. Just depends on what you guys want to talk about. Apparently, people are concerned that I woke up and chose violence this morning because I had a comment about Gregg Popovich on Twitter this morning. So last night, I officiated high school basketball. So I was at Highlands High School. I am sore, so sore right now. So I didn't get to watch the game in real time, but I did go home and I did, fire up the DVR to see what happened. And I watched the entire game. And a lot of people were like, Jimenez, don't watch it, man. You're going to get pissed off if you do. And I had to do it. I had to watch it. So I watched the game last night. Spurs at some point late in the second quarter, up by 4 points for crying out loud, looking like they're going to make this a game over there in Oklahoma City, a game that was nationally televised on TNT, a game that people were like, wow, it's Wemby against Chet, the top two frontrunners when it comes to Rookie of the Year. And the Spurs ended up playing a disaster of a second half. And in fact, it started the last few minutes of the first half right there, the last 3 minutes of the second quarter. The Spurs just completely got their asses handed to them. Final score last night, 123 to 87. 123 to 87. Now, the Spurs were without Keldon Johnson. So the Spurs were a little bit shorthanded, but still, to go over there and lose that badly was awful. And we're already getting comments right now on our YouTube stream. Chris Gonzalez saying, let's not talk about the Spurs today. I can't. Mike Baez saying, oh, lovely day. And David Otwater coming at us saying Spurs looked awful last night, and that is putting it mildly. They did look. Oh, look! I can actually show the comments here. Very, very cool. Here's the thing. I woke up this morning more and more agitated and frustrated as a Spurs fan when it comes to head coach Gregg Popovich and the direction of this team. And I understand the arguments that people are reaching out to me on Twitter about or on Facebook about, because they're like, Jimenez, dude, come on. Wemby's only played like 11 games. Let's give this some time to breathe. And I'm just looking at it. I get more and more frustrated. I get more and more frustrated because the Spurs are the youngest team in the NBA and are only going to get younger because we have 5 first-round draft picks in the next 2 years. The Spurs did nothing to surround Victor Wembanyama with any veteran talent. And people come at me and go, well, Jimenez, veteran talent, what do you mean? They have Devin Vassell. They have Keldon Johnson. They have guys who have been on the Spurs roster for 3 or 4 years. Well, the thing about it is this, is that none of those guys have ever been on an NBA team that was a winner. They've only been on the Spurs. And the Spurs have been losing year after year after year. What is this, like year number 5 that we're going to have in a row of a losing season? Which brings to mind Pop. A lot of people reacted on Twitter saying that I chose violence about this because I'm looking at Gregg Popovich and I'm thinking to myself, my God, the guy's turning 75 years old in January. He is 55 years older than half of his team. And I don't give a shit about the video of him yelling and having the team around him. That's his job. It doesn't mean that he's doing his job well. And this may not be it. Dude, I have, sometimes you have a banana on the counter, and it just turns really, really brown and black and you just got to throw it away. That's my attitude towards Pop. The dude should have retired with Tim, Tony, and Manu. The guy's already in the Hall of Fame, for crying out loud. What is he still doing out there? We need young blood out there on the bench, and we need older people on the team. And this whole argument of, well, Sohan's going to learn because, Parker's part of the organization and, Wemby's going to learn because Duncan's there. Duncan, Parker, and Manu do not travel with the team. They're not on the court with him. What are you guys talking about? It's different. They need to have veteran leadership on the damn court. Leadership that has actually been to battles and won games and knows how to win games. Chris Gonzalez reaches out and says, the Spurs shit the bed at the end of the first half and then diarrhea in the second half. Pete Aguilar, it was a bloodbath. Best way to talk about it. Chris saying Pop needs to Bob Hill himself. If you don't remember that, Bob Hill, former head coach of the Spurs, David Robinson got hurt and Pop decided to execute him and take his job. John Williams reaching out on our YouTube stream saying the Spurs need a point guard. Damn straight they do. Damn straight they do. Now, I will say this, though. Jeremy Sohan, as a shooter, is playing much better. Much better. Small sample size, but still, he's in the range of about 40% shooting from three, which is amazing, remarkable. But as the commentators mentioned on TNT yesterday, they said exactly what I said on Monday, which is the thing about him shooting well at three is the fact that the other teams are daring him to shoot. They're not trying to drive him away from the three-point line. They're not raising their hands up to block it. They're saying, yeah, if you want to shoot it from 24 feet, Sohan, go ahead and do it. The thing is that the last 3 games or so, he's knocking them down. So I have to give credit where credit's due. They're not contesting his threes, but he's making them. And at some point, they're going to have to run after him and chase him off the three-point line or at least challenge him. But right now, if they're going to let him shoot, and one thing I will say about Sohan right now, he's only shooting about 2 3-pointers per game on average. Whereas last season, it was closer to 5 or 6 per game, and that was absolutely ridiculous because he's not a three-point shooter. But credit where credit's due, he's knocking down the open three, which is something that he hadn't done in the past. STP11 comes out to me at YouTube Streamline, says, fire the GM, retire the coach. This is a joke. Go get Bob Myers now. Also comes out and says, terrible roster construction. You draft a prodigy and run it back with a G League roster. You see, and that's the thing. I posted on Twitter a GIF of the TV show Friends, which, by the way, I hate the show Friends, but go with me on this. There's that episode where they're trying to carry a sofa up a staircase, and they keep on saying, pivot, 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 change direction. And that's what the Spurs needed to do over the offseason, but they refused to do so. You take a look at it, the Spurs won the draft lottery back in May, had all this money for free agency, and did nothing with it. Now, the Spurs did re-sign some of their players. They extended Devin Vassell. They extended Zach Collins. They did certain things for future dollars, but this year they really didn't do anything other than spend what they needed to spend, right? And my question for all of that is that why would you not surround Victor Wembanyama with a group of winners, or at least some free agents who know how to win games, or pull off a trade for that? Because the Spurs have a crap ton of draft capital. Right now, the Spurs are on track to have 2 first-round draft picks next year and 3 in 2025. There's a possibility that the Spurs could have 3 next year, but it's very, very, very remote because the Spurs right now have a top 6 protected Toronto Raptors first-rounder, which it appears that we're going to get. That's part of the Jakob Poeltl trade, right? Then we also have a draft pick from Charlotte as well. But that one's so heavily protected, the odds of that ever conveying as a first-rounder is very, very remote. They'd have to make the playoffs either this year or next year for the Spurs to get it. So it's probably going to eventually turn into a second-rounder. But for all intents and purposes, we are looking right now at having 2 first-rounders next year and 3 the year after that. The thing about it is this. I was hopeful that this was going to be a team that could get into the play-in tournament, and maybe they turn it around. Maybe they turn it around. But what are we seeing right now? We're seeing Devin Vassell ball out, playing very, very well. Keldon Johnson playing a little bit better. We see the Spurs unable to get Wemby the ball down low. How is that possible when he's 7'4"? How can you not feed him the ball? That dude should be getting 4 to 5 dunk/layups every single freaking game, but they don't get it to him. And I don't want to hear of, oh, well, they're bodying him up down low and therefore they're moving him out of the way. I don't care. He's so tall. Get him the ball. You're telling me that there's nobody on the Spurs roster right now that can actually feed him the ball and let him do what he does. And then don't talk to me about the rotations. Oh, my God. Devin Vassell, who is the only player on the team that actually knows how to create a shot. Devin Vassell was seated on the bench for no reason. There was no foul trouble. He was on the bench for almost an entire quarter. I forgot that he was even on the freaking team at the end of the first quarter and second quarter yesterday. Absolutely ridiculous. Matt Larimer reaching out to us right now saying, we're seeing Devin hit shots but run away from contact. Fair enough. Fair enough. Chris reaches out and says, no, we have no vets, no point guard, no true shooters. I think that Devin Vassell's a true shooter. This is a frustrating roster. It's a frustrating roster because there are a lot of decent pieces in there. The problem is that the pieces need veteran leadership along the way. Jeremy Sohan might very well be a very good NBA player. Might very well be a very good NBA player. But who is he going to learn from? Everyone's saying, oh, well, he's going to be, the point guard of the future. Who's he learning from? Who is the point guard on this team that Jeremy Sohan is learning from? And don't give me this crap about Tony Parker. Tony Parker is not on that plane. He was not in Oklahoma City. He's not at every single game. He's not at every single practice. Who is Jeremy Sohan learning the point guard position from? Is he looking at YouTube tutorials? What the hell is going on here? Trey Jones is a decent point guard, okay? We may argue about whether he should be the starter or whatnot, but he's an NBA-level point guard because that's what he's done his entire career. My question is, who is teaching Jeremy Sohan what to do? Right now, they're just saying, we're going to have him figure it out, right? We're going to roll the ball out there, put 5 guys out there, no veterans out there, and we're going to just roll the ball out there and have them learn. Learn what? You learn from people who have experience. It doesn't matter what you do for a living. You could be a teacher. If you are a rookie teacher, you need a veteran teacher there to show you what's up and tell you what you need to do. In finance, I didn't become successful in finance on my own. It's because I was tutored by people who were good at what they did. Sports is the same way. Doesn't matter if it's football, baseball, hockey, soccer. You learn from somebody on your team and you get developed and are put in a better position. Having Jeremy Sohan go out there, and again, he's playing better, but having him go out there without an actual mentor is malpractice. That's what that is. The same can go with Victor Wembanyama. Who's teaching Wemby? Is there a big guy there? Because let's go back in time. David Robinson could learn from Terry Cummings. David Robinson showed Tim Duncan the ropes. Who is showing these guys the ropes? Who's the veteran out there to show Sohan the ropes? To show Wemby the ropes? Devin Vassell was going to do fine on his own. He was going to do fine on his own. It's so frustrating. And to say, oh, well, they're just going to learn from Pop. Is it possible that Pop and Bill Belichick are basically the same person? Bill Belichick winning all those Super Bowls with Tom Brady and absolutely nothing without him. And then you see Gregg Popovich do basically nothing without Tim, Tony, and Manu. There was a decent year they had with Kawhi. Dude, maybe Pop is not the answer. How long of a leash is it? Dude, someone reached out to me on Twitter today and said, look at Jimenez, what you call yourself a Spurs fan. Pop brought all this glory to this, and then you hashtag it Por Vida. How dare you? Dude, how fucking sensitive are Spurs fans right now? Are you kidding me? At least Cowboy fans, I make fun of Cowboy fans all the time. At least they go after Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy. Okay? Mike McCarthy might not have brought rings to Dallas, but Jerry Jones did. Jerry Jones did. And at some point, it becomes stale and it becomes old. It becomes old. How long of a leash do we have for Gregg Popovich? If they have a losing season this year and a losing season the next year and then a losing season the next year, are you still wanting him as the head coach of this team? The dude's 74 years old. He is 9 years older than the second oldest coach in the NBA. He's going to turn 75 in January. It is not a 75-year-old man's system ball, generation to do what he's doing as a head coach. All the good head coaches right now tend to be in their late 30s, early 40s, maybe up to about 52, 53 years old. I don't care if he's been through the battles. Tim Duncan's not walking through that door. Not walking through that door. David Atwater reaching out to us saying, we need some Draymond Green type players. We'll get into that conversation in a bit. That was interesting. Matt Laramore. Jeremy is not trying to be the new point guard. He's learning how to play offense. Okay, fine. He's learning how to play offense. Who's teaching him? Who on the court is experienced enough, savvy enough to teach Jeremy Sohan to learn what he needs to learn when there's nobody else on that team that has the same skill set? That's the thing. John Williams reaching out to us on YouTube stream saying we need to go get Derek White. That's a very interesting point. Derek White will never be the alpha of the team. He'll never be the first choice, but he's a dynamic third choice. And that's why he does so well in Boston. And that's why he's actually very, very revered around the NBA. I mean, you've seen other players say that they're mimicking his game, that they style their game to Derek White. Derek White is designed to be the glue guy of a good team. And the Spurs are not a good team, so I don't know how well he'd do here. The Spurs would be better with him, but I don't know. Mike Bias, Bear County Social Apparel, saying, damn, Mike. Okay, I'm there. Did you know Spurs got kicked off TNT, says Matt Letterman. Did not realize that. Like I said, I saw it on on my DVR afterwards, man. Afterwards. STP11 says, retire. Josh Jimenez, no relation, love the last name. That's a great life lesson, Mike, he says. You need to pair young people with vets and talented experience. Fire Pop and Brian Wright, there's no vets. So the debate that goes on social media right now is, when it comes to the Spurs, is, well, they've got a lot of draft picks coming up. And they're just going to be inexperienced players. Right now, if you go to Tankathon and you see where the Spurs are projected to draft, and I know we're early on. I know that we're early on when it comes to things. But when you take a look at where the Spurs are right now, they're projected to draft at number 4 and at number 14 because that Toronto pick is going to the Spurs. And right now, that Toronto pick is looking to be at the very end of the lottery. Charlotte right now is projected to draft at number 7. That pick right there, I believe, is top 16 protected. So basically, Charlotte needs to make the playoffs in order for the Spurs to get it. SCP-11 reaches out and says, Mike Conley was available this summer. Go look at what he's doing for the young Wolves. I mean, it's beyond Mike Conley. I mean, look at all the free agents that the Houston Rockets have gotten. Suddenly, the Houston Rockets look like a playoff potential team. AF Blue, what's up, AF Blue? Says has at least 2 years this year to prove he can develop at least 2 young guys alongside Wemby, and next year to incorporate the pieces that Brian Wright brings in to solidify around Wemby. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it when it comes to the Spurs getting a free agent, because that's not what the Spurs are doing. Now, Brian Wright is wheeling and dealing when it comes to getting draft picks, but he's not wheeling and dealing to get players. You see, we see what he's doing when he flipped Thad Young for a first rounder, when he flipped Jakob Poeltl, when he flipped DeMar DeRozan, when he flipped DeJounte Murray. He is good. Brian Wright is good at getting draft capital, but turning those into actual players, he has not done, not shown. So how are we going to know that we're going to be a destination? Yes, Victor Wembanyama may in fact be a generational player. He may actually be that next superstar in the NBA. But we are a small market team. And the idea that we're going to go out and get free agents to come to San Antonio to play with Wemby especially if this team goes off and only wins 20, 25, 30 games. It's not going to happen. We need to show free agents that, hey, you're just the missing piece away from us having a good team. That's the problem right there, is that we're not a 41-41 team where we just need another player to make it a 50-win team. We're looking like a team that's actually regressed. And it's regressing even despite the fact that Wemby is on this team. Wemby can't even get the ball down low. That's the crazy part of it all. And I'm not even mad at the fact that Wemby is shooting poorly from three. He's got the release. He's got the rotation. The splash will eventually happen. Tim Gonzalez reaches out and says, what's good, Mike? Time for the Spurs to make a trade or a move. Again, those trades will come at the deadline. The Spurs will do a move in the deadline because Brian Wright has been all about that, but it's not going to be to bring somebody in, man. They're going to try to flip for a contract, a bad contract, and they're going to go off and get another first rounder, which is fine. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with draft capital. In fact, the Spurs have a lot of draft capital this upcoming year. That's a good thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. But what I'm saying is that if you think that you're going to develop a team that is built purely of draft picks and nothing else, no veterans coming in, no trades to be had, then you're out of your freaking mind if you think that's going to work. Out of your mind. I mean, we saw the Memphis Grizzlies do something similar to that when they got John Morant, Desmond Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr., right? But then they had to get like a Steven Adams along the way to kind of round out the corners, right? We're seeing this with the Houston Rockets right now. The Houston Rockets, they go out there and they draft Alperen Sengun, who I'm a big fan of. The Rockets roster started to materialize after getting Jalen Green, but they brought in a Dylan Brooks, they brought in a Fred VanVleet to complement a Jabari Smith Jr., to complement an Amen Thompson, to complement a Cam Whitmore, who's now in the G League. They said, okay, we have this young talent. Now let's bring in some vets. Let's bring in a point guard. I wonder what the Spurs record would be with Fred VanVleet on this team. Think we'd be 4-7? Do you think we'd be, or 3-7, 3-8, whatever we are right now? Do you think we'd be that if Fred VanVleet was on this team as point guard? Do you think that maybe, just maybe, keeping Sohan at his original position and offering that $30 million a year contract to VanVleet might have been worth it? I think so. Point guard is arguably the most important position on an NBA roster. You need to have a good point guard, and the Spurs don't have a good one. We have an inexperienced one, and we have one that, is a borderline starter. In Spurs right now, I hate to say it, man, because it is November 15th. Are we already circling the drain? I don't want to hear this, oh, we're only 11 games in the season. We lost by 30-some-odd points last night. Spurs right now with a record of 3-8. Second worst in the West. Only team that has a worse record than the Spurs right now are the Memphis Grizzlies, who are decimated by suspensions and injuries. Matt reaches out and says, well, we can do what the Rockets did and pay disgruntled vets. Doesn't matter if they're disgruntled. They seem to be pretty happy now. Mike Baez reaches out from Bear County Social Apparel, says, doesn't help when you got Doug McDermott throwing the pass towards Victor's feet. How is it you can't get the ball up there? I don't get it. Dave Atwater, my favorite comment of the day, saying Mike is 100% correct. We need vets bad, he says. Charlie Hernandez says, with VanVleet, we would have around 7 wins by now. Exactly. That's exactly it. That is a battle-tested player. And I know he talked shit about Pop back in the day, but it is what it is. Team Tank 2.0, Chris Gonzalez reaches out. Oh, LRM. Rockets have a better coach. You can believe that Pop is an all-time great coach and belongs on the Mount Rushmore of great head coaches in NBA history. You can believe that and also say that he's not the right guy for this job. You can. I mean, look at it this way. We saw Bill Belichick win titles with Tom Brady. Does that mean he could have won titles with Patrick Mahomes? Maybe, maybe not. Could Andy Reid have had as much success with Tom Brady as he's had with Patrick Mahomes? Maybe, maybe not. Sometimes it's all about the fit. And if you don't fit, you gotta get the hell out. Coaches are hired to be fired. That's an old phrase when it comes to coaching. Hired to be fired. I am 46 years old, and it's hard to believe that nearly 2/3 of my life, Gregg Popovich has been the head coach of the Spurs. It's time, dude. It's time. I mean, dude, I'll give you an example. I work in finance, right? The earliest that you can actually take out money from a retirement account and not pay a penalty is 59.5. You need to start taking out your money from your 401k by the time you turn 73. That's a new rule. It used to be 70.5. Now it's 73. Pop is older than that. Pop is older than full retirement and late retirement age of Social Security. Pop should have retired a long time ago. And is that me being ageist? No, just saying it's a young man's game. He hit the peak in 2014 when it came to the beautiful game. Can you imagine if he had ridden off into the sunset and retired in 2014 after his 5th ring, after they had beaten LeBron and just decimated LeBron and the Heatles and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh? Imagine if he had just gone off into the sunset, so much like David Robinson did in 2003. The last visual that we have of David Robinson is him holding up the trophy alongside Tim Duncan. He rode off into the sunset as a champion. John Elway style, right? Pop should have done that in 2014, but he saw Kawhi Leonard. And he was like, man, we could do this all over again. Monty's still here. Parker's still here. We can do this all over again. And then when they started to go away, it's like, well, we got LaMarcus. And then it just became downhill from there. And then the Spurs win the lottery. They bring in Wemby. And then you hear the stories about he just seems so re-energized. Screw that, dude. Screw that. He's not the guy. He's not the guy. That's it. He's not the guy. Matt coming out and saying, I'm not ageist. I just say ageist things. Who will replace Pop is what John Williams is asking. Well, who is left on the coaching tree that isn't elsewhere? I mean, Ime Udoka is in Houston. He ain't going to go anywhere. Mike Budenholzer is not going to go anywhere. You know, you go around all over the NBA. Steve Kerr is not going to go anywhere. Well, maybe Kerr might go someplace, but I highly doubt he's going to leave San Francisco for San Antonio. And do you really want Steve Kerr? I mean, was it really Steve Kerr that was winning those titles, or is it the fact that Steph Curry is one of the greatest players of all time and he just changed the game? Is it going to be Brett Brown? Is it going to be David Atwater asking? Is it going to be Bill Self? Is it going to be Becky Hammond? I wouldn't mind Becky Hammond. I'd find that interesting. Talking about Brett Brown, I mean, that's just so unsexy. That is so unsexy. But is what it is. Head coach Mike Baez reaches out and says, head coach Manu Ginobili has a nicer ring to it. I can see that. Don't think it's going to happen, but I'd like to see it. Actually, the head coach that I think would make sense is actually Tony Parker. I think Tony Parker has it in his blood to become a head coach. And I think he'd be a really, really good one. But it's one of those things where he lives a very charmed life, a very good life. And the idea of him wanting to come out of retirement to do the whole NBA thing. He loves San Antonio. He's always in San Antonio. But I don't see Tony Parker coaching in the NBA right now. I think he just recently got remarried. I think he's perfectly fine doing what he's doing. Matt reaches out and says Steve Kerr will soon leave because the Warriors organization is imploding. Let's talk about the Warriors last night. Last night, Golden State Warriors taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves, and there was mayhem before the first bucket was scored. The score was 0-0, and there was a melee that ensued on the court. Maybe not a melee. I don't know what you would call it, but obviously there was some tension to be had there. Jaden Daniels and Klay Thompson Jaden McDaniels rather, and Klay Thompson got into it first minute of the game, and I blame Klay Thompson for all this. Now, maybe that's me just being a jaded guy because I'm not a big Klay Thompson fan. Guy looks at the PBS logo, not a fan. He is a good player. He will eventually be in the NBA Hall or the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. But if you see what he was doing, I understand wanting to block out, but you block out with your body. You don't use your left hand to grab somebody by the throat, which is what he was doing. And McDaniels got pissed off about it and basically went up to Klay Thompson. And they kind of scuffled a little bit, and McDaniels ripped Klay Thompson's jersey. Rudy Gobert comes on in to try to separate the two, but he doesn't take McDaniels. He takes Klay Thompson, which is a no-no in sports. You do not touch another player the way that Rudy Gobert did. And then Draymond Green, being Draymond Green, loses his effing mind and goes and grabs Rudy Gobert and puts him in a headlock. It is a bad look because Draymond Green didn't just put him in a headlock. He refused to let go. And you have all those still shots that are there, and Draymond Green is going to be suspended, and I think suspended for a long time. I think the NBA is tired of his shit. Draymond Green is somebody who every single year is one of the tops when it comes to technical fouls. The guy is being thrown out of game after game, and he cannot control his emotions. He's a fucking child. And beyond all of that, the NBA has allowed it to happen for so long. And it's like, it's going to be funny when the NBA tries to clamp down now, because for the better part of a decade, they've let Draymond Green do whatever he wants to do. Matt reaches out and says, the video was hilarious because Gobert looked confused as hell. Like, why is this happening? Why did it happen? It happened because when you separate people in a fight, you go grab your own player or you get in the middle and try to like get them away from each other. Gobert grabbed Klay Thompson. He did. Gobert's probably going to get a suspension himself. I'm not saying a long one, maybe a one-game suspension or something to that effect, because you do not do that. He brought it upon himself, okay? So for me to like say that Draymond Green was in the wrong to go and step up, he wasn't in the wrong to step up. He was in the wrong to not let go, okay? Because if someone had grabbed Devin Vassell like that, if Gobert had grabbed Devin Vassell the way that he grabbed Klay Thompson, especially if Vassell's jersey was ripped, I probably would have gone over there and been okay with Zach Collins or Sohan going over there and getting in the middle of it all. But the thing is that you go after your player. You protect your own player. You don't go and physically remove an opponent. Draymond Green was right to get in to be part of the altercation. He was very much in the right. It's just when he got him in a headlock, motherfucker refused to let go. That's the thing. He refused to let go and was dragging him along. And as Matt says with the video and all those still shots and all those TikToks that you see out there, he looks confused like, is somebody going to get this guy off of me? Can I please breathe? What is an appropriate suspension? Let me know. Tell me what you think on the YouTube streamline. What do you think it is? Because I think it's going to be somewhere between 5 and 10 games. What I think is going to happen is they're going to suspend for 8 to 10 games. It's going to be appealed, and it's going to be looked at, and they're going to come back and say, now we're going to make it 5 games. We're going to make it 5 games. Mike Baez saying that Steve Kerr is scared of Draymond Green. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. But the idea that this team is imploding, I mean, Steph Curry didn't play last night, but the Golden State Warriors right now, still a decent team. They're 6-6 right now. Only 1-4 at home, by the way. They're 5-2 on the road. This is a team that's probably going to get rid of Klay Thompson at the end of the season. If I'm not mistaken, Klay Thompson is going to be a free agent. there's no reason to bring Clay back. Clay is a shell of himself. Clay, again, is going to be a Hall of Famer, but he is not the same Clay Thompson that we knew and loved for so long. This is a guy that is regressed. He's just not as good anymore. He doesn't play defense very well anymore. His shot is not as hot as before. He's gone from being a great shooter to just simply a good shooter. And there's a market for that. He's not going to be out of the league, but he's probably going to go to some other team because what is it going to take to keep him? Is he going to give like a 40, 50, 60% discount to the Warriors? I doubt it. If it's your last contract, go get your bag. Go make money someplace. They're all going to be fined some way, right? Whether it be for fighting or whatever the case may be. But got to think about the suspension aspect of it all. The suspension is going to be a big deal. Man, it was funny. It was funny. Let's go to NFL news. Deshaun Watson is out for the year. Karma. Guy's a jackass. I'm a girl dad. I don't like the guy. You know, the guy paid off more than 24 massage therapists for being a scumbag. Deshaun Watson, according to ESPN, will undergo season-ending surgery to repair a fracture in his throwing shoulder, sidelining their franchise quarterback once again, which sucks for the Browns because the Browns, again, not only are paying him so much money, $246 million fully guaranteed, but this is also a Browns team that is doing well in the standings, and a lot of people thought that they had a chance of making the playoffs. 6-3 on the season. You know who this benefits? This benefits the Houston Texans in a variety of different ways. The Houston Texans right now at 5-4, if the season ended right now, would actually make the playoffs. But this helps the Texans because the Texans can leapfrog eventually the Cleveland Browns, so much so that on Christmas, they actually play the Browns. So the Texans are going to roll up and play the Browns with a backup quarterback. So Deshaun Watson, this was the only good team really on their schedule aside from Jacksonville, because the Texans have the Arizona Cardinals this weekend. They should get a win there. They've got Jacksonville, and you take a look at Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is not playing that well this year. Then they've got Denver, who's playing better, but that's a beatable team. Then they've got the Jets. They've got 2 games against the Titans, and sandwiched between there, they've got the Browns. Texans better make the playoffs. Now, this is me being a hypocrite because the Houston Texans have no right to make the playoffs in the sense that they've got no veteran leadership. I mean, they've got some players on the offense like Dalton Schultz and Devin Singletary that I guess you can say are veterans. But when you have a quarterback that's a rookie, when you have young players on both sides of the field and a rookie head coach, you shouldn't be making the playoffs. The thing is that this team has shown time and time again that they are a legit team and that C.J. Stroud might be the best rookie quarterback since Dan Marino. And that's saying a lot because we've had a lot of good quarterbacks along the way. We had Andrew Luck most recently that was a badass as a rookie. But C.J. Stroud, there's just something about him. The guy fits the part. He looks the part. And the luck, that the fortune that the Texans have in backing into him because they wanted Bryce Young, but they got that last win last week of the season or week 17 last year, and it propelled the Bears to the number 1 pick, and they ended up trading it. So I think right now you take a look at the Houston Texans, man, they are riding high right now. They're doing very, very well. Lots of comments right now on ESPN. I woke up this morning and I saw some of these shows, and I found it interesting is that they're asking the question, why is it that the people, sports fans and the media, aren't clowning on Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills? Josh Allen is a turnover machine. He has led the league in turnovers each of the last 5 years as far as years running. And the belief is that no one gives a crap about the Buffalo Bills, and therefore no one cares. But Dak Prescott gets so much heat, and Dak Prescott, his stretch of games since that loss to San Francisco has been very, very impressive. Now, again, they did play a crappy Giants team last week, and they were favored by 17.5 points. So they were expected to win. This week, they should be expected to win as well, because here's what we've got going on. By the way, the Thursday night game is going to be the Ravens hosting the Cincinnati Bengals, a big game for the Bengals and a big game for the Houston Texans, because the Ravens win that game helps the Texans' chances of making the playoffs. Josh Jimenez reaches out to me right now and says, "You're wrong about the vets, Mike. Texans got Shaq, Mason, Dalton Schultz, Jimmy Ward, Perryman, Woods. They have vets, but you're right in the fact that making the playoffs is crazy." No, they've got veterans, but they don't have star veterans, I guess is what I'm saying. Dalton Schultz is a good pickup there. It gives a security blanket for their young quarterback there. But the Cowboys taking on the Carolina Panthers, favored by 10.5 points on the road. The Carolina Panthers are 1-8 on the season. Cowboys coming in at 6-3. On the other side, Cowboy fans will be looking at that Monday Night Football game between the Eagles and the Chiefs. Eagles 8-1, Chiefs 7-2. A rematch of the Super Bowl from last year, or earlier this year rather. Chiefs favored by 3 points. Guess who has the night off? Taylor Swift. Is she going to come fly in? I'm just saying there's a chance. It's Monday Night Football. Why wouldn't she be there? It's the Kelsey Bowl, man. It's Travis Kelce against Jason Kelce. Of course she'll be out there. Josh reaches out and says, also a testament to the talent of the rookies in C.J. Stroud and Tank Dell. Tank Dell balling out right now. Whenever you get that connection there between a quarterback and a receiver, it doesn't matter what receiver you're talking about or what quarterback. You go back in time to, let's say, Troy Aikman with Michael Irvin, for example. I mean, you get that connection there, and you can go back in time. There's always that 1A wide receiver that's out there that that's going to be there. If you have a 1A receiver, wide receiver 1, and you have a very good tight end, good things can happen. Especially if you have a decent running game on top of that, man. The Texans look strong. Imagine if they make noise. Imagine if the Texans actually win that division and host a playoff game. And Mike Baez asking the question, Stroud or Dak? Pick one. I'll take Stroud. I'll take Stroud because Stroud costs $9 million, whereas Dak is going to cost next season $59 million. Dak is slightly better than C.J. Stroud at this point because of experience, not because of talent. It's because of experience. I would say that Dak right now is slightly better than C.J. Stroud. You can make an argument that both of them right now are top 10 quarterbacks in the league. You can make an argument right now that C.J. Stroud is actually an MVP candidate. If they win that division, why wouldn't he be a top 3 candidate for MVP? But on the other side, though, if Jalen Hurts is going to go off and win 14 games, if Patrick Mahomes is going to go off and have a 14-3 record, a 13-4 record, they're going to win the MVP. It's not going to be C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud will win Rookie of the Year, and he'll be a finalist, if you will. It's going to be a great story, but no, I don't think so. Lots of comments coming in right now. I did put a poll out there earlier today about the Spurs and about Gregg Popovich. And I asked the question. It's a very simple question. In Pop we trust? Question mark. 237 people have voted in the last 3 hours. Not bad. 58% saying, yes, he will improve the team. 15% are saying they're starting to get worried. And 27%, like me, have been worried for a while. Some of the comments out there. Mario Cavazos reaches out and says, Tyrese Halliburton in tonight's Pacers game over the Sixers, 33 points, 7 rebounds, 15 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 0 turnovers. Imagine him instead of a streaky Devin. Devin Vassell was taken 1 spot ahead of Tyrese Halliburton in that draft. I believe it was in 2020. Tyrese Maxey was also part of that draft, if I'm not mistaken. Robert reaches out and says, I've never been a Pop we trust kind of guy. He's a great coach and motivator, but nobody's perfect, and no coach on this planet deserves the blind faith most of our fan base puts in him. He's made a lot of mistakes over the years. As Pop would tell you himself, he had Tim Duncan. Coach reaches out and says, too many Chiefs on the team, agent influence, new investors, change in strategic direction. Who was really steering the ship that is the San Antonio Spurs? Drew Show comes out and says 60% of people are in a cult, the cult being that of Gregg Popovich. Going back to the NFL, Chris Gonzalez coming at me asking the question, Dak gets so much flack. Is this because the road to the Super Bowl is easier than Josh Allen's? Josh Allen's road to the Super Bowl is harder because the AFC is more difficult. I mean, think about it this way. The Cowboys win, let's say the Cowboys make a walk-on berth, right? It is true that 3 of those games would be on the road. All 3 of them would be on the road. But chances are one of those games would be up against the New Orleans Saints or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. How scared would you be of that game? I know that the Saints have a good defense, but if given the choice of betting on a team that has Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard, all those guys, Micah Parsons, or going up against a team that has Derek Carr or Jameis Winston as their quarterback, which one are you going to be more fearful of? Which one would be favored? Doesn't matter where it is. So that would be a W for the Cowboys in there. And I'm a Saints fan. That's hurtful to say. That is a hurtful thing. But the Cowboys can make noise in the NFC because we've seen the 49ers struggle. They don't struggle against the Cowboys, but we've seen them struggle. We've seen Seattle struggle. You know what team we haven't seen struggle? The Lions. That's weird. That's really weird. Because is it possible that the Lions are the best team right now in the NFC? I'm looking at the plus minus, if you will, when it comes to the NFL. The Eagles have a better record than the Cowboys right now, right? The Cowboys right now are standing at 6-3, the Eagles 8-1. But the Cowboys have outscored their opponent by 104 points. The Eagles have outscored their opponents by just 57, nearly half. The Lions, though, 7-2, have outscored their opponents by just 38. Let's visit that right there. Are the Detroit Lions a very, very good team, or are they completely smoke and mirrors? Well, they beat the Chiefs in week 1 by 1. They beat the Chargers this week by 3. I guess what makes it a little bit topsy-turvy when it comes to it is the fact that they lost to the Ravens 38-6. But have since then have climbed out and won back-to-back games. AF Blue, it's been like 10 games. Damn, people need to chill. No, it's been 11. It's been 11. And it hasn't been just 11 games. It's been 4 freaking seasons of losing records, man. I'm not used to it. Chris Gonzalez says the Lions only got like 2 tough games, which are the Cowboys and the Vikings. Fair enough. But they're going to be hosting playoff games, man. That's the thing. And the Eagles this year have been winning almost every single game by 1 possession. They were 6 yards away from losing to the Cowboys there at Lincoln Financial Field. Cowboys 6 yards away from winning, 46 seconds away from winning. Couldn't pull it off, man. They couldn't pull it off. Penalty, a sack, a bad throw. It was absolutely brutal, man. Absolutely brutal. But I appreciate everyone reaching out to us on our YouTube stream. It is a little bit more difficult doing this show without Joe because, man, Joe and I can kind of go back and forth, and sometimes we can take a call. No, man, it's a little bit difficult, man. A little bit difficult doing it on my own. But thank you for all the comments out there. Trying to find any entertainment news topics that you guys want to talk about today. Because I don't want to talk Swifty talk today. I'm gonna lay off the Swifty talk today. But anything going on in the entertainment variety. I saw this TikTok earlier today, and I thought it was pretty funny. It was Salma Hayek being interviewed on a talk show in England. And Salma Hayek, beautiful woman, beautiful Latina, Mexicana. Her real last name, by the way, is Jimenez. Her name is Salma Jimenez. True story. If she married me, she wouldn't have to change her last name. Just saying. But she was talking about the fact that she met Danny Trejo back in the 90s on one of the films that she was doing, and that they had warned her that he was a tough guy who had spent time in prison for robbing banks, and that she was a little bit scared to meet him, and that when she saw him, he ran up to her and opened up his shirt and ripped his shirt off, and the shirt showed that big chest tattoo he has, and that chest tattoo he has kind of looks like Salma Hayek. And he goes, "I knew you before I knew you," and how freaked out she was, that she was both impressed and scared at the same time. Thought that was kind of funny. Josh Jimenez reaches out and says, a guy YG to take down a photo of his baby mom stripping at a YG party entertainment. Have not followed that, Ben. Send me a link. So last night, I was over at Highlands High School officiating a high school basketball game. I did 2 games. I did the freshman game between Pleasanton and Highlands. That game went into overtime, and if you are a referee, you know you don't like overtime because it's an extra 4 minutes. And it's a lot of running, and it just becomes a little bit much. But the game went into overtime. I have no idea who won. I really don't. I think Highlands may have won. Then we had a JV game. I sat out that game. Other officials went in. Then the varsity game, three-man officiating. I was one of the 3. And going up and down the court. And apparently, one of my close Twitter followers was at the game because his son played for one of the teams, had no idea. And what was cool about it is that he said on Twitter, he reached out to me and said that he did not come up to me after the game to say hi because, quote unquote, I was working, which is true. And he actually gave me high praise on my officiating. Very, very cool. In fact, after the game, I don't know if you know this, but on a lot of varsity games, the coaches will actually grade the officials as to how well they think they did. And I did not get an official grade as of yet, but the coaches on both sides came up to me and said, "Hey, you did a fantastic job last night or tonight." And the other officials were happy with how we did as a unit. So that was pretty cool. I've got some varsity games next week that I'm excited about. Tim Gonzalez comes out and says that the college football rankings came out last night, the playoff rankings. That is true. And I was actually just reading up on that earlier this morning. Ohio State's obviously going to be one, but right now the top 25 rankings, number 1, you've got Georgia, 2, Ohio State, 3, Michigan, 4, Florida State. Don't you just want to cheer against Michigan at this point? Because, I mean, they're just a bunch of cheaters out there. But again, number 1, Georgia, 2, Ohio State, 3, Michigan, 4, Florida State. Now, keep in mind, I believe it's next year that they're going to a 12-team format. But you take a look at it, number 5, Washington at number 5, an undefeated Washington team. They just got to win out, man, because Michigan and Ohio State are eventually going to play each other. So they just got to win out. They control their destiny. All 5 of those teams control their destinies. And then you've got 3 one-loss teams, Oregon at 6, Texas at 7, and Alabama at 8. Texas, again, has that W over at Alabama. You've got Missouri at 9, Louisville at 10, Oregon State 11, Penn State 12, Ole Miss 13, Oklahoma 14, LSU at 15, Iowa 16, Arizona at 17, Tennessee, Notre Dame, and North Carolina round out the top 20. Tulane at number 24, and Tulane they host the UTSA Roadrunners next Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. Can you imagine that? Thanksgiving is already upon us. It is about a week and a half away. Super excited. My favorite time of the year. It's my favorite time of the year, the holidays. I love Halloween. I love Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's Eve. It's going to be a little bit difficult for me this year because, I got separated from my wife earlier this year. And, we're splitting time with the kids and whatnot. And I'm assuming that I'm going to get divorced next year because if you're separated, chances are that leads to divorce. So it's going to be a little bit more emotional and difficult this year for me to go through the whole Thanksgiving process and making sure that I have them X number of hours or whatnot. But I appreciate the support that a lot of Spurs Twitter has given me over the last few months as I've gone through all of this. That's the reason why I kind of stopped doing the MJ Acquired Taste podcast, was because I was going through a separation and I had I had to get my head straight. It was a kind of a crushing thing for me. I'm not saying that I'm 100% better, but you kind of get a little bit better by the day. It's just kind of what I'm going through. Swiss reaches out and says, "It's always safe to say that no matter what we do on social media is what you do on the outside with your life. That is to be respectful no matter what. Props to X." It's interesting because I wonder if people are the way that they are on social media than they are in real life. A lot of people are complete assholes on social media, and they do so because they hate someone's politics or they hate someone's point of view, but they would never say or do anything like that in person, And, it's funny because I meet people out and about, and people remember me from this podcast, or they remember me from the old radio shows I had, Halftime or Jimenez and Spence on San Antonio Sportscast. And they will always go like, "Why is it we like you better in person than on media?" I'm still the same person. I still say the same shit in person that I do, on social media. But people tend to like me when they meet me. And it's like that. Like, I'll give you an example. One of the friends of our show is Rick Fernandez, right? He's pretty notorious on social media. He's kind of a jackass on social media, but you get to meet him in person. He's actually a really nice guy. And that's the funny thing. Let's give some love to MCS General Contracting. MCS, that diamond rock hard concrete. Go to MCS General Contracting if you have needs for, a slab for a home or a business, or if you need to get a parking lot done, those ADA compliant ramps, if you need to have a concrete extension to your patio, if you have any work that needs to be done that involves concrete, they'll also do swimming pools and things like that. Reach out to them. MCS General Contracting, they'll get you going when it comes to that. Chris Leha, big supporter of the show, is our guy. And don't forget to subscribe also to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia at Jeff G Spurs Zone on Threads, on X, on Twitter. Again, we're talking about daily content when it comes to your San Antonio Spurs. In fact, there's a rumor that I'll actually be the guest tomorrow with Jeff Garcia. And some of the things that we're going to talk about are whether or not the Spurs are too young of a team. Now, Jeff provides that daily content when it comes to the Spurs. I follow him on Twitter, but I also follow his show on YouTube, and I follow his show on Spotify as well. All the major podcast platforms, just like our show, you can find his as well. Daily content when it comes to the Spurs. He's also the head writer for Kens5.com when it comes to your San Antonio Spurs. Jeff Garcia, he follows the team. He follows the team day in, day out, and he has lots of content from last night's game, lots of post-game reaction from Victor Wembanyama, from Doug McDermott, all of these guys. And he's giving me crap on social media saying that I declared war on Pop again this morning. I declared war simply because I'm just tired of seeing Pop. That whole shtick of him being a dick to the media, it's cute when you're winning. But when you're not winning, it just makes you a dick. That's just basically it. Chris Gonzalez reaches out to us and says, "They like you better in person because you're MF and cute." It's effing cute. Alonzo says, "You got good energy." That's the thing, man. Charlie Hernandez reaches out and says, "Keep your head up, Jimenez." Rob says, "That shit always sucks. Sorry to hear about that." Hearing about the marital woes, it kind of is what it is. I can't control it, man. I can't control it. Didn't want it to happen. Can't control it. Can't control it. Love that woman. But it's just one of those things, man. We all go through life, and some things are positive, and some things are negative. I think about this year. My business has been the best it's ever been. Like, I've been super successful this year with my business. But I lost my business partner. He decided to go off and take a banking job, a banking executive position. And, my wife wants a separation. And, now I'm kind of at this house and I only have my kids half the time. It sucks. But, I'm trying to count my blessings. I'm getting closer to family members. I'm getting closer to spending a lot more time with friends. I've lost 15 pounds this year. There are things that are positive. I'm trying to take the positives along with the negatives. But this year, it's been a topsy-turvy year. I lost my radio show earlier this year. Not due to ratings or popularity. I lost it because of finance. This is what it is. But my goodness, man, I am happy to still be doing what I'm doing here. I'm still happy to be. Oh, I'm seeing here.
What's up? What's up?
Oh man, I entered the therapy couch. I was talking about my divorce and shit. So.
Oh man, yeah, no man. Hey, I just thought I'd come in and say hi real quick. I'm going to lunch real fast with this new job. I'm gonna get you some help here, Mikey. I'm trying to train my boy over here to help you. That way he can go ahead and be the producer while you're doing this show. That way he can go ahead and put up the chat and do all sorts of other things for you as you're doing the show. Yeah, so it'll get back to what we're used to, sharing all the chat and stuff. And shout out to Drew, man. $5, right here with the super chat.
Super chat. He says 60% of the people answering your poll are in a cult. 10,000 hours. So had Pop getting 10,000 minutes, and you and I are talking crazy talk.
Hey, so tell me, what was your thought? Because I didn't get to see because I was in training. What was your thoughts on the Spurs game from last night? And it was so bad, Mike. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. The Spurs game was actually, they had to move away from it to go ahead and show another game for a couple minutes, and then they came back to the game again. But Sohan, Collins, the team as a whole playing horrible defense. I mean, the Spurs fans were starting to come after Coach Pop and Sohan pretty fierce yesterday. I mean, what were your thoughts on this game?
My thoughts on it is that there's no leadership on that team at all. There is not one leader on that team. And part of being a leader is experiencing those battles. You don't want to go into a situation with nobody there who knows how to do something, whether it be the actual military or whether it be sports. You want to have somebody who's a veteran who has seen the ups and downs and knows how to right the ship. And what you saw out there was a team that has no leadership. Jeremy Sohan is being told, you got to be a point guard. Okay, well, who's the point guard teaching him how to become a point guard? There's not one there. They're telling Wemby that he needs to go out there and be a generational talent, and that he needs to go out there and be the main guy. But who out there has ever been the main guy? No one. Yeah. It is the blind leading the blind. Defensively, they're inept without Wemby on the court. And then offensively, they can't get Wemby the ball. Vassell's the only player. Dude, be completely honest with you here. There are only 3 players in the Spurs that I want to keep. That I like. Like I would say, like
you're starting to see the light.
Like if I saw that there was a trade involving 10 of the Spurs players or 12 of the Spurs players, I wouldn't care, right? But it's Wemby, it's Vassell, and it's Malachi Branham. Those are the only 3 I want to see. Like everybody else is disposable. Now AF Blue says that's why Pop was calling out. That's why Pop was calling out the team, right? He was saying, he needs to see some nasty for the young guys, especially defensively. He ain't gonna see nasty. Yeah. He's not going to, because when he said, "I want to see some nasty," who was he saying that to? He was saying that to veteran players who had won titles before. Yeah. He was saying that to Tim, Tony, and Manu. He was saying that to. Think about how good Kawhi Leonard became because he was trained by and he got to practice with and play alongside Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker. Who is Victor Wembanyama playing next to?
Vassell, a bunch of other pieces,
Keldon, Zach Collins,
and pieces.
C.D. Osman. I mean,
look, man.
So that's the thing, and I don't want to say like, oh well, it's because it's a rookie season and blah blah blah. No. Free agency was after the draft. They knew back in May that come June they were going to draft Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah.
They didn't show up to the draft in June to go, what, we won? They knew for a fucking month and a half that they were going to draft him.
Yeah.
And then they did nothing to surround him with talent. Nothing to surround him with anybody of consequence. Nothing to surround him. And I was hopeful that Vassell would take the leap and Keldon would take the leap. But at the end of the day, let's go through it. What has Vassell won in his lifetime in the NBA? Not a damn thing. Keldon
Not
Johnson,
even a playing game.
Keldon Johnson, nothing.
Yeah.
Zach Collins, nothing. Seedy, nothing. Doug McDermott, nothing. Julian Champagny, nothing. Trey Jones, nothing. You can go up and down the entire roster. There's not one battle-tested player on that team. Not one. Not one. And we're here to expect that Pop is going to somehow coach up Sohan, somehow going to coach up Wemby without having any leadership on the floor with them.
Yeah.
And all I hear is, well, it's because of Tim shows up to practice, once a month. They can always call Parker on FaceTime. I mean, that's what I hear.
Yeah.
It's like, really? No, you need to have it on the field, on the court with you. And it's so frustrating. So what did I see last night? I saw the blind leading the blind. I saw nobody being able to step up because nobody knows how to step up.
Yeah.
Shout out Chris Gonzalez. Chris Gonzalez. Great. We need a Crash Davis on the Spurs team. That's exactly it, baby. That makes Wemby Nuke Lelouch, right? It makes him that's what we need. What we need is to put Wemby like Nuke on Bull Durham. He needs to wear the garter underneath the shorts. He needs to breathe through his eyelids. He needs to do all the things that Annie told him to do and Crash told him to do in that movie. And one of the best lines of that movie was, "Flower goes in the front, big guy."
Hey, I was going to say shout out to Drew again because he gave us another super chat I was showing here. And this one was, he said, Wemby, Pop, Sohan, and the fans got this, so.
Yeah. And he's also saying I'm putting way too much into my sons because I call Vassell and Malachi Branham my sons. I just want them and Wemby, and then everybody else can just be flushed down the toilet, man. Really.
Yeah. Hey, man, but honestly, though, the same thing that we've been saying is not all the Spurs players here are going to be around here in the next 2 or 3 seasons. This team's going to look much different, a lot different. And you're going to have to say goodbye to some of the fan favorites, and that's the way that you grow. The Spurs are going to have to go ahead and make trades to go ahead and bring in some veteran leadership because right now I think that's really what they're missing. They have a lot of younger players, very inexperienced. It's showing out there on the court. They don't have a true point guard. That's showing out there on the court. They don't have a 3-and-D guy that can go out there and help guard the wing. Other teams are shooting lights out from beyond the arc. That's killing the Spurs. I mean, there's no transition defense to speak of. This team needs a lot of help. Wemby's rookie year might just be a wash, but if the Spurs don't put something together around him, probably within the next 2 seasons here, do you think he's going to want to stay and play for a losing team? I think not. The Spurs have a very specific timetable that they're going to have to work with. Moves are going to have to be made, I think, starting this season. They're going to have to do something at that trade deadline to try to go ahead and bring in some veterans if they're going to want to go ahead and put some pieces around Wemby. If they keep on going and looking to go ahead and grow from the draft, if you go to the draft, what's going to happen, Mike? The team's going to get younger. They're already younger. They're already inexperienced. If you go into the draft and you try to rebuild, you're going to get younger, more inexperienced. And how many years are you going to have to wait till you're going to go ahead and get back to being in contention again? Spurs fans are already getting upset with the product that's being put out there this season. You think they're going to want to wait another 4 or 5 years for a work in progress?
And exactly what is it going to be when it comes to Gregg Popovich when it comes to this? Because if this is a process that's going to take years, how long do we want Gregg Popovich to still be there? Do we want him to be the head coach of this team at 78, at 80?
Yeah.
Dude, I wanted him gone when he was in his 60s. And I understand that he has 5 rings. I understand that he's a Hall of Famer, and I understand that there's a lot of respect, but there is got to be a point when it's just time to fucking cut bait. The Cowboys did that February of 1989 when they got rid of Tom Landry. And a lot of fans were pissed off because they're like, "Oh, they did it wrong. They just completely did it wrong. They should have let him go out on his own terms. They should have let him resign on his own." Pop ain't gonna resign, man. Pop ain't gonna resign. The guy's might be loving to the players, but he's kind of a prick to everybody else. You mentioned about getting younger right now. The Spurs have 3 first-round draft picks potentially for 2024. They've got their own. They've got Charlotte's and they've got Toronto's. Charlotte's is top 14 protected, so basically they got to make the play-in order for the Spurs to get their first-rounder. 2025, we've got our own. We've got Atlanta's, and we've got Chicago's. Chicago's is top 10 protected. In 2026, we've got our own, and we've got a right to swap with the Atlanta Hawks, rather. 2027, we've got our own, and we've got Atlanta's. It's no restrictions on that one. And in 2028, we've got our own, and we've got Boston's first rounder. And beyond all that, a crap ton of second rounders along the way.
Yeah. I mean, the Spurs at some point got to go ahead, and they have a plethora of draft capital. That could be attractive to teams when you're packaging in some of your other players. You got to go ahead and make some moves, and you got to go ahead and play to your strengths to make this team better, more competitive, moving forward. They've shown right now there's a disparity between the San Antonio Spurs and even a team such as the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are a very good young team, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
The Spurs show that the gap there is big. It's really big, and they need to get better. And that's not going to happen with just flipping a switch. Let's go ahead and make a couple trades, see what happens. This is the same roster you had for the last couple of seasons that have been horrid on defense. They're a tad better with Wemby in the lineup, but this is still a very bad defensive team. It doesn't matter what they do. They need to get rid of the pieces that they have now to get better defensively. You can't keep putting another superstar from, let's not a superstar, but another high draft pick. Let's say they're in the lottery again. Oh, this is going to make the team better. It's still the same fucking roster you had from the last season that was horrible on defense. It's not going to get better. This is what you have right now. They wanted to kick the tires and see what they got. This is what you got. You got to move on. You got to get better.
It's so brutal. And I fear that, certain players are going to struggle because of it. We see Lonnie Walker doing better with Brooklyn. We see him doing better. And I wonder, would he have been a better player with another team? Not under Pop. Pop does not do well with young guys. I mean, look at Devin Vassell. If you look at his rookie stats, he rarely played. It wasn't because he was unhealthy. It's because Pop had no desire to play him.
No, Drew Show is asking the same thing right now. So he goes, it's all the players and none of the coaching. Okay, you want this coaching staff to have vets coach the players. Vets will fix the offense and defense. Sure, buddy. No, what I'm saying is that it's a mixture of both veteran and younger players. Right now, they just have a lot of younger players and not enough veterans. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done with this team. But yeah, you got to blame the coaching staff at some point too. Coach Pop isn't going to be able to keep continuing to get a pass. At some point, you're going to have to hold him accountable for the product that's being put out there on the court.
And that's a great way of putting it. At what point is Popovich held accountable? And the fact of the matter is that I asked that question right now on Twitter. I asked the question on X there, about the fact that in Pop, do we trust? And 58% of the 250 plus people who voted so far this morning say, yeah, he's going to improve the team. And they're fucking delusional. All 58% are fucking delusional. And you know what's so funny, Joe, is that people come at me all the time and say that I have bad takes, right?
Yeah.
I have bad takes. Was it a bad take last year when I said the Spurs were a 20-win team and that that'd be best for them to go in and tank for Wemby?
No, wasn't a bad take.
All the heat that I took, man. No, bad take.
They got Wemby.
Ultimately, what's going to end up happening is that people are going to come around to my side when it comes to getting rid of Pop and advocating for that. They're going to come around to my side, and I will look at everybody and say, I wanted Pop gone before it was cool.
You and Drew both have that same mentality. It's funny to me. You're like, Coach Pop is the cult leader. You know?
You know, it's just, and there's a reason why I don't like press passes, by the way. There's a reason why I don't like going into the locker rooms, because I want to be able to talk the way I want to talk. And what ends up happening, though, is that, you know, media tends to have relationships with the players because they want to have future access. And I get it. I mean, it's part of the game that is played. But that's the difference between traditional media and new media, is that new media can kind of go out there and be a little bit more out there when it comes to it all. Hey, Joe, that's how you story, man. So I've been talking about the fact that my business has been doing very well.
Yeah.
And we have vendors that I do business with that are always being nice to me, and they see that I'm doing well. They want me to provide their services, right? And I'm not going to do anything just simply because I get something out of it, but it is commonplace for vendors to kind of treat you well, especially if you're doing well. If you're not doing well, they won't talk to you.
Yeah.
So like last week, I had one that said, hey, we're doing a seminar. Can you come out here? We'll treat you to lunch at Ruth's Chris. That's when I got dressed up last Wednesday, right? And then another one called me up and said, hey, do you want to have dinner? We ended up going to get Mexican food, whatever. So now I'm basically hanging out with my vendors. I have another one sending me a bottle of bourbon. So last night, one of the vendors, because I submitted a big piece of business to this one company, calls me up and says, do you want to go to the Spurs game? And I was like, well, what Spurs game? He's giving me like different dates and whatnot.
Yeah.
And he goes, do you want to go see LeBron? He goes, I'll get you tickets to go see the game against the Lakers. So my question for you is this, Jim. If a vendor is giving me tickets to a game, and they're going to take me to the game, so they're not like giving me tickets to go bring a +1. They're like, we'll take you to the game. Do I think badly of them if it's not lower bowl?
It should be lower bowl. If you're going to want to dine somebody, wine them and dine them, you know, and you want to keep them on your good side, you're not going to sit them in the upper bowl, man. Like, come on now, you know, especially if it's a business, especially if it's like a business gift, you know?
Yeah.
You
So
don't,
it's not, I'm not going to be by the fan zone.
No, man. You know what? I don't even sit by the fan zone. I'm gonna go if I'm gonna sit in the upper bowl. I'm gonna go to by the La Gloria, the Burgateca area. You know, that's where we were at. It was nicer there. You know,
so I judge them if I show up and it's like section 226. I judge them.
You judge them.
I'm looking for Skybox. I'm looking for that dinner.
At least a Skybox. At least. Bare minimum a Skybox. It would sweeten the deal if it was a suite, you know, with other clientele. Okay, now we're talking. We get free food, we get free drink, got a good view of the court, you know. Now you're speaking my language. But to sit you up there in the nosebleeds, you know, you're in row 20 or got out 23 way in the back by the wall. No, man, what is this?
It's funny. It's so funny. I had a vendor years ago provide me tickets to a concert, and it was Hall & Oates. And I asked to go to a Hall & Oates concert. They're like, we'll get you really good seats. And then they're like, dude, that was super expensive. We had no idea Hall & Oates would be super expensive, but it was over at the Majestic. Dude, right now, I don't know what the hell's going on. My glutes, my ass cheeks, my muscles on my ass cheeks are twitching right now after last night's games of refereeing, Highlands and Pleasanton. I bet you if I had my Fitbit on, I would have said that I did 4 miles for both games combined. One of the games went into overtime. Dude, like literally, my glutes are like vibrating. Like
jelly?
No, not like jelly. They're twitching. They're twitching.
You got in spasms, bro. Man, when you go drop the deuce, you might get a cramp.
Dude, I have ass spasms right now.
Oh, man.
On both nalgas. Oh, my goodness, man. And my shoulders. Out of all things, you would think that it'd be like my feet that hurt. My feet are fine right now. Last night, I'm going to post video of me getting out of my car last night
Oh no.
after my games, because my feet are fine now, but I probably look like an old man. I'm gonna find the vivid video of me walking through, getting out of my truck,
You know
and
what you
just me
need?
old manning it up there.
You needed an ice bath, bro. You needed to jump in that little tub of ice there
Oh
for a couple
yeah.
of minutes, you know?
Oh my goodness. I need something, dude. My shoulders are just so sore, man. So sore. But it was a good show. It was a good
Yeah.
show. Need some electrolytes is what the Drew Show says.
Need something.
But I need to get back into the business world, man. So I'm going to let everybody go. Joe, you're more than
Peace,
welcome.
man.
You're more than welcome to stay around and mess around, baby.
No, I got to get back to work now, man. I got like a couple minutes here. I'm on my lunch break, so I got to go pop something in the microwave, then come back and finish the training. And I got a meeting that I got to attend to. So it was just fun to pop in.
Tim says that I need to put on some icy hot. I remember one time when I was playing varsity tennis because I'm athletic. They put icy hot on my groin
Oh man.
because I had an injury. I ran into the pole, like the light pole, because I was at the net and they hit it over my head. And I was running back to go get it, and I flipped it around and I hit a good shot. But then I'm looking back to see if it was going over, and my momentum took me into the pole.
Ugh.
When I hit the ground, the trainers came running out and they're like, "How's your shoulder?" Like, they're trying to see if I dislocated my shoulder. And I said, "That's not it. My groin, like something happened down south and it just was all jacked up." And then they gave me the stuff and I put it on me. And man, my balls burned for like an hour. It was so bad.
There's nothing
It
you
was
can
so
do, man.
bad.
Once that stuff gets over there, it gets there. It penetrates the skin, brother.
Well, I was able to have kids after that, so it's all good. It's all
Yeah,
good.
you're like,
No, but
me quema.
I am gonna go back to work. The good thing is that next week I'm actually taking vacation time from work next week. So
Nice.
I'll be taking some time off. So we got to figure out what the schedule is going to be like next week for the show,
Yeah.
if we're going to have any or whatever the case may be. I'm also going to take off about 2 to 3 weeks in December.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I'll still do the show, but as far as working is concerned, I typically take off the 15th and I go until the second week of January. So
Yeah.
the joys of being self-employed.
Yeah.
But Chris Gonzalez, damn, Mike, they went revenge on the nerds on you. Revenge of the nerds on you. That's basically it.
Oh man. All right, man. Well, I gotta bounce, man. So let's go ahead and end this.
All right. Hey, thank you, everybody. Thank you for the super chat, Drew. We
Thank you,
enjoyed
Drew.
it. Again, MCS General Contracting, much love to them. Much love also to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs. Don't forget to subscribe. See you guys.
See you, boys. Peace.